Hello and a very warm welcome to World This Week by Latest Laws. This is our weekly program, so subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified. My name is Monica Rahar and let's get started by having a look at Supreme Court this week. The first update that we have, I'm sure must have been tracked by every law aspirant of this country. NLS Bangalore has been granted permission by the court to conduct its National Law Aptitude Test 2020 on this Saturday, that is September 12th, but the court at the same time has restrained it from announcing the results and admitting new students based on this test till the pendency of the plea. The court has extended by 3 months the tenure of judicial member of NCLAT, Justice AIS Cheema, who was scheduled to retire on September 10 after completion of his 3-year term. The apex court has held that a writ petition under Article 226 of Indian Constitution would not be maintainable while challenging a High Court order passed in exercise of its judicial powers. The State Bank of India has moved the Supreme Court to vacate stay which was imposed by Delhi High Court on receiving dues from Anil Ambani by invoking his personal guarantee. The statements made by Prashant Bhushan in the year 2009 in one of his interviews with Tehelka magazine to state that half of the 16 Chief Justices of India were corrupt has become a subject matter of contempt proceeding before the Supreme Court, and for the very same case, the court has sought assistance of Attorney General K.K. Venugopal. The apex court has directed Mumbai Grahak Panchayat to file an affidavit on suggested amendments to the aviation regulator's affidavit on the refund of air tickets booked during COVID-19 lockdown. The court has imposed an interim stay on reservations in job and education to Marathas and referred the matter to a larger bench. The central government has informed the Supreme Court that using disinfectant tunnels is not recommended and also that it is clinically and psychologically harmful for humans. The apex court has dismissed a PIL seeking deregularization of petrol and diesel prices and also to pass on to the public the benefit of fall in international crude oil rates. Supreme Court Judge Justice R.F. Naraman has been appointed as the chairperson of its Legal Services Committee with immediate effect after retirement of Justice Arun Mishra. Now let's proceed and see Delhi High Court this week. The centre has moved a plea before the High Court seeking review of its direction to publish the draft EIA policy in all 22 scheduled languages, saying that the official documents are required to be published only in Hindi and English. Senior Advocate Rajiv Nair has written to the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, urging him to have a relook at the validity of continuation of physical hearing in view of COVID-19. The High Court has asked Arnab Goswami to exercise restraint. This decision has come in response to Shashi Tharoor's plea seeking interim injunction against broadcasting allegedly defamatory news reports about his wife's death. Acting in consonance with government health guidelines, the court has passed an order to get rid of the requirement of procuring doctor's prescription for getting tested for COVID-19 through RT-PCR tests. The Advocates Welfare Trustee Committee has informed the High Court that it has approved a grant of Rs 1 crore for the benefit of needy lawyers. Now let's proceed with the Bombay High Court and see some of the nationwide debated updates coming up from the High Court. In response to Kangana Ranaut's plea challenging the notice issued by Mumbai civic body, that is the BMC, seeking demolition of her Mumbai office for illegal construction and the subsequent demolition, the High Court stopped the demolition midway and the matter is now adjourned till September 22. Saket Gokhale, who was a former journalist, approached the High Court seeking direction to Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to remove his personal detail from the IB Ministry's website, and also he demanded a sum of Rs 50,000 as damages for mental trauma, agony and threat to his life and liberty which he suffered owing to such publication. Now let's have a look at Punjab and Haryana High Court this week. The court in an important decision has held that the statutory cooling off period provided for under section 13B subsection 2 of the Hindu Marriage Act, it can be waived off in divorce cases which are based on mutual consent. The court also reiterated settled position by apex court to held that this statutory period, it is not mandatory, rather it is directory in nature and it can be waived off on the court's discretion. Now let's see what transpired before the Kerala High Court this week. In a very important decision, the Kerala High Court has recently issued general directions to be followed by the investigating authorities and trial courts while dealing with POCSO crimes and cases. Some of these guidelines were one-stop support system, appointment of nodal officers, training of all the stakeholders, possibility of separate cadre for child protection force, and many more. Now let's proceed with the miscellaneous segment of our news analysis. A special court under NDPS Act has rejected bail pleas of Riya Chakravarti, her brother and 4 others who were arrested under Section 27A of the Act for their alleged involvement in a drugs case which is allegedly linked to the death of Sushant Singh Rajput. Riya, in her bail plea, has contended that she was innocent and was falsely implicated. She was also not interrogated by any woman officer. The Orissa state government has asked the police headquarters to introduce lane driving on national highways to reduce accidents. The centre has told the Andhra Pradesh High Court in an affidavit that there is no stipulation in Andhra Pradesh Reorganisation Act that requires Andhra Pradesh to have only one capital. The centre has supported this decision of the government to have 3 capitals for the state. Keshav Nanda Bharati, the petitioner who led Supreme Court to produce one of the landmark decisions of India, passes away. Foreign-based followers of Sikhism will be able to credit donations directly in a dedicated account of the Golden Temple after the Union government has registered Shri Harmandir Sahib under Foreign Contributions Regulation Act 2010. Justice Markande Katsood, former Supreme Court judge and chairperson of the Press Council of India, will depose as a witness in favor of fugitive economic offender Nirav Modi. Now let's proceed with the last segment of our news analysis, which is the international news. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has written to court in London for a hearing to decide whether he should be extradited to the US for leaking secrets about wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Contending that George Floyd died of alleged drug abuse, a defense attorney for the fired police officer charged with Floyd's murder argued for dropping all charges against the officer. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to stop detaining immigrant children in hotels before expelling them from the US, saying the much criticized practice hit on the very fundamental humanitarian protections. UK and EU have until October 15 to agree on terms of a free trade agreement after Brexit. Otherwise, both parties better abandon the talks and move on, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is expected to say, according to a transcript released from his office. That's all we have for this week. Thank you for being with us, and the link to all these news updates is provided in the description box. You may refer to them. Until we come up with the next video, keep sharing, keep supporting, take care and happy learning.